If you're an org admin, you'll be looking after your organisation's preferences. The preferences have a hierarchy, so let's take a look at that now. Essentially, preferences start at the top level and flow down. Not all preferences flow down because they might only relate to a specific level. It's likely that you'll never need to change too many preferences, but it's good to understand the hierarchy. At the top, we have the Aconex preferences that are controlled by, you've guessed it, Aconex. These are not accessible by anyone else and they control a lot of the default preferences and suit most organisations and most projects. Next we have organisation preferences. The defaults at this level filter down from the Aconex preferences, but you can change and override certain ones. You can also lock certain preferences at this level to prevent changes at the project and user levels below. Then we have project level preferences. Again, the defaults at this level filter down from the levels above, but you can change and override certain ones. And, as with the org preferences, you can lock certain ones to prevent changes at the user level below. Finally, we have the user level preferences. Anyone who has an Aconex account can change certain preferences that relate to just themselves, and we cover those in more detail in another video. As we said before, you probably won't be changing the preferences a lot, but it's good to know how the hierarchy works and how each level can affect. Org admin, you can set various preferences for your team. Let's take a look. To manage preferences, we select the option via Setup. There are different tabs displayed at the top of the page. The tabs that you'll see will depend on your role. Here we'll just take a look at the user-related preferences. If you're on the User tab, you'll only alter your own personal preferences, so we'll move to the Organisation tab. There are a lot of options on this page, so let's concentrate on the ones that are likely to be the most useful. First, we'll quickly explain the default setting checkbox. This box tells us if the default is being used. The defaults are set by Aconex, and in most circumstances they suit most organisations. In order to change the options that have a default setting, you'll need to remove the tick. Let's get back to the options. Security is a great place to start. In another video, we discussed creating and managing users and controlling password preferences for individual users. Here's where we set it for everyone in our organisation. First is the password strength. The default or standard option is pretty strong, but there's a complex one too that requires more specific criteria to be used. Then there's the setting that controls how long passwords last before they expire and need to be reset. As before, you can decide to enforce a different setting. Once you've made any changes, just remember to click the Save button so they take effect. One thing to note is that the password access or expiry rule always has the same incorrect password attempts set to 5. And this means that after 5 unsuccessful attempts at logging in, the system will automatically lock that user account. Remember that as an org admin, you can unlock the account. We've discussed the importance of communication in other lessons. Well, changing the security settings are a prime example. If you were to just change these settings without telling anyone, there could be a great deal of frustration on the part of the user when their password next expires. It's better to communicate changes like this in advance so that people know what to expect and what they need to do. Remember the 3 C's: consistent, concise, and clear communications. Next up are the notification preferences. We'll need to scroll down to see them. Here they are, and we'll focus on the email option. This determines the setting for notifications. Notification only means that the user will get an email notification for each mail sent to them on a project, but that notification won't contain any of the detail. You can adjust this setting for all users if you need to send a full body notification and even notifications with attachments. The last preference worth noting is the session time. It determines how long before a user will be logged out after any inactivity. This is something that users often increase themselves, so it may be good for you to change it for all users in your organisation. That's it for user-based preferences. They're pretty easy to understand and change. Just remember that some changes may have an adverse effect on your users.